Yeah. So this is going to be an interesting one. I don't think we've done a movie review.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Hmm.
an awesome
But
choice.
this is very interesting.
Yeah, and it's an awesome choice of movie that you've
Yeah,
selected.
I love that movie.
So how do you want to go about it?
What is this basically? Like the pincer they are talking about, like, past against the future. What is it exactly?
Okay. So you understand this concept of entropy and time, right? The correlation between entropy and time?
Not really.
Not really. So, okay, let's go down to the basics then. Um,
Mhm.
do you have a clear idea what entropy itself is?
No.
Okay. Entropy is a very important concept in physics. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it says that always any system, including your
Hmm.
life or your body or the society or the universe,
Hmm.
will tend to a maximum state of disorder.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you take any system, like suppose um, you take, let us say, um, yeah, you take, for example, a glass, yeah,
Hmm.
and you take a block of a color, okay,
Hmm.
and you drop it in that
Hmm.
glass, okay.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
the initial state, it is very ordered. The color is in the block and the water is colorless, correct? But if you just allow it to be like that, the color will start to dissolve.
Hmm.
That means the order in which the color was separate from the water will dissolve to create more disorder. Yeah. Any system in the universe tends towards maximum chaos.
Okay.
This is called entropy. Yeah. So entropy is the degree of disorder. And by law, second law of thermodynamics, this entropy tends to go to maximum. Okay. Now, this is seen in any system. A system means any anything that you take in this universe. If you take the initial state and you review that state after some time, the degree of disorder will increase.
Hmm.
It will happen in our planet also. Yeah. We talk about climate change, but to people who understand the second law of thermodynamics, climate change was an inevitable thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it is inevitable. Yeah. You take an organization, okay? You put five people together and don't give it any energy. The organization will go downhill. So the corollary to this is it takes energy to keep order.
Hmm.
It takes energy in any system to retain order. Disorder is a default parameter,
Hmm.
right? So if you
Hmm.
have any machine that is working, if you don't look after the machine will break down. This is the law of physics. So you need to put in energy to keep order in the universe.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that energy has to come from somewhere. We know that the energy in the universe always remains the same,
Yeah.
right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be,
Will not be
yeah,
destroyed.
it can be
Hmm.
transformed. Yeah. But entropy will always increase. Now, corollary is that it is entropy that gives the arrow of time.
Oh.
Yeah. So actually in physics, any state should be movable in both directions. Any system should move in both directions.
Hmm.
Laws of mathematics do not say that time must move only in one direction.
Hmm.
The laws of physics allows for time to move in both directions, but in our experience of the world, time only moves in one direction.
Yeah.
So what the understanding is that because entropy is moving only in one direction, that is why we see time moving in one direction.
Okay.
Okay. So in this movie, there is a concept where if you reverse the entropy of a object, okay, that means if you reverse the entropy of the object, that object will move in the other direction of time. It will go in time reverse.
Wow. Hmm.
See, theoretically, this is possible. Nobody has really been able to do it in the world, but theoretically, if entropy can be reversed through some, in this movie, they've got a turnstile. Turnstile is what you had in
Yeah.
the metro station, no, where you enter. So you have a
Hmm.
turnstile through which you enter, and
Hmm.
it reverses the entropy. So for
Hmm.
that person, he will see everything moving backwards.
Hmm.
He will be moving forward, but everything else is moving backwards. For the
Hmm.
others, he is moving backwards while they are moving forwards.
Hmm.
So it is a sort of a sci-fi scenario where if you had this, what he calls that algorithm, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when he puts all those pieces of algorithm together, है ना,
Hmm.
then he can create this turnstile where a object can reverse its entropy. Therefore, it will be able to go to the past.
Past. Hmm.
Yeah, it will be go to the past, and when it comes back to the turnstile again, it will go to the future. So you can
Hmm.
do sort of time travel.
Hmm.
So you're not actually doing time travel, but you're doing reverse or forward.
Hmm.
And so the movie is based on this concept.
Hmm.
Our understanding of time, our understanding of time could be purely a mental construct. See, the Buddhists have a very beautiful understanding of time. Yeah. You know, when you go to the Buddhist monasteries, they have this spindle,
Yeah, yeah, I have
you
seen
keep,
that.
yeah, you keep, you know,
Hmm.
patting it and it keeps turning around, right?
Rotating.
Keep pushing it
Hmm.
and it keeps turning around.
Hmm.
See, in the concept of Buddhism, there is no arrow of time. They believe every moment is a page in a book which is got pages like a circle all around it. So, like a spindle wheel, it has got pages 360 degrees. If we open a book, we have pages 180 degrees. If the book is flat, from 0 to
Hmm.
180, we have pages. In the Buddhist spindle,
Hmm.
it represents pages 365 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So, when one page is one moment,
Hmm.
next page is next moment.
Hmm.
But
Like Taurus of
when
life.
you rotate it, then it becomes
Hmm.
like a movie, 60 frames per second.
Hmm.
Each picture moves, but you see it like a movie.
Hmm.
है ना? So
Hmm.
for the Buddhists, the Spindle represents the ever constant moment. See, the moment is constant,
Hmm.
but our perception of a series of moments gives us time.
Wow.
Yeah. So each each page is one moment of time. Next moment,
Hmm.
next moment, next moment. So for the Buddhists, time is not really a function of their philosophical understanding of life. Every
Hmm.
moment is, which is why Buddhists, by and large, are very happy people. They just live the moment
Hmm.
because they know that, see, past and present is a mental construct.
Hmm.
It is like if you are reading a book and you are not concentrating on the page that you are reading and you're thinking about the page before or the page to come, you
Hmm.
don't get the book, right?
Hmm.
You don't get the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get it, right? You've lost the plot, right?
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
plot
Hmm.
of reading, the plot in reading a book is you stay with every page that you're reading, right?
Hmm.
Because that's where the action is.
Hmm.
So the Buddhists have a very clear concept of this, where for them, a moment is the moment. Living in the present moment, they are very good at it.
Hmm.
Otherwise, imagine a country like Tibet, which has lost its own ownership of the country, which is so suppressed, which is so everything. Still, those kids in Tibet are smiling, they are laughing. you know Life goes on for them, right? How do they do it? They do it because they stay in the moment.
Hmm.
So in this moment, in this movie, there is that famous tagline: "What's happened happened."
Yeah. Yes, that is so awesome.
Yeah. So it is a very interesting concept. In our concept also, we have something called the Kala Bhairava.
Okay.
Kala Bhairava is a form of Shiva,
Hmm.
who is the Lord of time. There are many lords of time. Even Shani is a lord of time. Yama is a lord of time. But Kala
Hmm.
Bhairava is the one
Hmm.
who stitches time so that you don't see it as moments. You see it as a continuous illusion. The role of
Oh.
Kala Bhairava is to keep time going in one arrow, one direction.
Oh.
Yeah. Even our Vedas accept the fact that time could go both ways. In our Puran, we
Hmm.
have several stories of people
Hmm.
moving exactly like in the movie Tenet. They move
Hmm.
forward and backward.
Hmm.
Our ancients understood that it could be done.
Hmm.
Time can go in both directions. But Kala Bhairava is the tattva who helps our understanding of time to be moving in one direction. It's a Maya anyway.
Hmm. Develops the illusion more.
Yeah, it's like a spindle, prayer wheel. You can turn it both ways. Actually,
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
people turn it in one way just to make sure that time goes the way we don't become the the red in the movie Tenet. We remain blue. Yeah, blue is going forward. Right? Anything in that movie which is red means it's coming backwards, right?
Yeah.
So keep doing that. We keep moving it in one direction so that कहीं गलती से जो है it doesn't
Hmm.
then suddenly I will be talking backward to you.
That would be interesting to see
Yeah,
how it turns out.
yeah, yeah. maybe I'm doing it to you now, but since you're also in it, you hear me straight. But actually, both of us might be speaking backwards. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're
So
saying.
we won't know till somebody else comes into the room.
Yeah.
Then they'll say, "What are these two people speaking gibberish?" Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I wanted to
interesting.
ask the last scene.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
tell me.
Last scene. Yeah.
So last scene where Neil says what's happened, and you can't really change anything, but that doesn't mean that you choose to do nothing.
Yeah.
So that is so deep, and I remember my experiences of you were saying Akashic records कि मतलब वो हो चुका है already and you are just experiencing it again. So maybe you are not going to the future, but you are like experiencing the past.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is possible, but the context, I think. So now, Neil, you understand, is a tragic hero, right?
Hmm.
Neil is a tragic hero because see, Neil was actually recruited by the protagonist.
Correct.
You might have seen it when Neil is going in the
Hmm.
last scene when
Yeah,
he's
that
going,
scene.
there is
That
a
scene
red
I'm
there
talking
is a
about.
red tag.
Yeah.
There is a red
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in the movie before that, it is that man who died with a bag with a red
Hmm.
tag that actually saved
Hmm.
the protagonist and his friend right
Hmm.
from inside the tunnel.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Neil
Hmm.
actually comes back, sacrifices himself, which is why in one scene,
Correct.
the protagonist says, "I'll see you in the beginning."
Yeah. Exactly. The same scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's
So
like you are through halfway, and I'll see you in the beginning.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Because
So
Neil,
the protagonist thinks that he's going to the future, but Neil indicates that he's like going back to the origin, like see you in the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So which is why this guy says, for me, it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah,
And Neil says, for me, it is the end of a beautiful
it's the
friendship.
end. Yeah,
So Neil
that
knows,
yeah every dialogue there is like super awesome.
super packed. Yeah, super packed. So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened refers to the mechanics of the way the universe works, the
hmm,
mechanics of it. But it doesn't mean that you sit and do nothing,
correct.
which is what Mandala Vatika is all about, right? The Mandala Vatika is all about being there 100% in innocence,
Hmm,
doing whatever you have to do, but taking the help of friends to do it. It's exactly how
hmm,
the protagonist does it.
hmm,
Yeah. So here, what we are seeing is that Neil has to have tremendous faith in that system that he is willing to sacrifice himself without
hmm,
question. Protagonist also does that before they
hmm,
go into the tunnel, because when
hmm,
that pincer movement, a pincer movement is basically in war when you attack the enemy from two sides. Here, the pincer movement is when they attack the enemy from the two arrows of time, from the past and the future. So this gesture which he gets, the protagonist gets, no, that this gesture and the word tenet, right? So this is the pincer movement of past and present coming together. And tenet itself, TEN, NET is 10 in reverse. The name itself is actually this. Yeah. So knowing that, having the faith that this in this pincer moment, what is happening is the past is learning from the future so that it can preempt the uh, have a success in its attack. So the past and present are continuously colliding, so that, not colliding, but exchanging information, so that they know what is going to happen and therefore they can prevent it. Right? Now, Neil also should have tremendous faith, tremendous faith in the system, that even if that he will give his 100%, even if it means his sacrifice of his life, because he know the system will work. The pincer movement is also there when the exchange is made for the last piece of the algorithm, where the uh, where the um, where the car chase happens twice, one in reverse, one going forward. Yeah, there the villain is using the pincer movement to his advantage. The villain is using the pincer movement where he knows what is going to happen, and therefore he thwarts it. Yeah. The special condition of this movie is it actually takes head on a paradox that is called the grandfather paradox. So what is the grandfather paradox? The grandfather paradox in physics says that time travel is not possible, because if I go back in time and kill my grandfather, then I will not exist now. So this is called the grandfather's paradox, right? Now, in the movie, they talk about everything that they are doing in the pincer movement is a violation of the grandfather's paradox. But in this movie, he talks about the is something like a multiverse. So every time a violation of the grandfather's paradox happens, there is a new universe created where another possibility gets opened. So while, because of the violation of the grandfather's paradox, many times Neil and the protagonist may not exist at all in the future, there will be some universes where they will exist. So they talk about parallel universes there. I mean, that's the understanding. While it's not clearly defined, but that's what the meaning is, because the entire movie is a is a um, is a violation of the grandfather paradox. But in today's physics, it is possible if you use the parallel universe theory. So the pincer movement that you mentioned is actually, it is temporal pincer, which means it is based on time. That means you are attacking the enemy from the past and the future at the same time. So if you are able to exchange information, then the one who is attacking now knows what is going to happen, because the guy coming from there, he has seen it already. So he gives the information to the guy who is in the now, so that he can take steps which will which will overcome those things. And so when they attack that building, in the end, you will find in many cases the people who are coming from the future, they will see from where the attacker is attacking in the building, and they will give that information, and these guys blow up that guy who's firing from there, and things like that. So it's a very fast movie, but if you look at it carefully, the pincer movement it's a beautiful concept. Once um, the villain uses it, then second time round the protagonist uses it, and the last part of it is where Neil uses it. That's why he runs back. You see Neil running back all the way, right? He runs back all the way because he wants to reverse that. So he uses that. So it's interesting concept, right? See, Christopher Nolan is, I mean, known for making these kind of movies, right? I mean, Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight. I mean, these are his movies, and his movies are always very loaded, very, I would say, very deeply spiritual in their content. Yeah, every one of them is very deeply spiritual in their content, I would say. I mean, it gives you an understanding that is very out of the box. Yeah. So the pincer movement is a very interesting concept there. So what else?
Also, there's a scene where the like protagonist is fighting with himself. So one is from the future and one is from the past.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, the black mask, no?
Yeah, Black Mask. Yeah.
Yeah. So one good thing about this movie is there's plenty of clues. If the guy is
Yeah.
wearing the mask in reverse, that means he's going in the reverse direction. Yeah.
Hmm.
If the mask is in front, that means he's in the forward direction. Wherever there is blue, it means those people are moving forward. Wherever there is red, it means they are going reverse. है ना?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you see the black mask there is the protagonist. Yeah, the one who is completely masked, with whom Neil fights, and you will see that fight where Neil fights him. At the end, the
Yeah.
mask comes
And
off, but
yeah.
Neil doesn't
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
him, right? Because he
Hmm.
realizes
Let-
that it is
Hmm.
Neil who has sent him here.
Hmm.
See, because if the protagonist meets himself
Hmm.
and tries to kill himself, then everything will become zero.
Correct.
There is
Dissolve.
there is
Hmm.
annihilation, right? So when
Hmm.
the mask comes off, it is Neil who sees it, not the protagonist.
Correct.
Not the protagonist. The protagonist is not
Hmm.
the one who sees. It's Neil who sees, and
Hmm.
then he doesn't kill him.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because even in the beginning of the movie, that when this guy orders something and he says Diet Coke for him,
Hmm.
that's because
Yeah.
Neil knows him from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
And
Maybe.
also the lady, she's like somebody was jumping out, and I felt jealous about her, and she was herself there in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that one who jumped off,
Hmm.
the- she saw herself jumping.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in the first dialogue, she says she doesn't know it is herself jumping. She says, I'm
Exactly.
jealous of the woman or her
Hmm.
relationship with my husband. I am jealous that she had the guts to jump off
Yes.
into freedom.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is again a beautiful understanding. And a lot of it, Dinal, like what you discuss with me very often on this deja vu.
Hmm.
You seem to have your life peppered with deja vu, right? It's a very similar thing. While
Exactly. That is why I was so curious to know.
Yeah, so it is exactly that, because how do you know you've been here before?
Hmm.
And at that moment, what happens to the arrow of time?
Hmm.
In that moment, Kala Bhairava must have blinked, for a second he had blinked. That's when you get the deja vu. Second, he just blinked and you had a deja vu. That's it. It's simple. The
Hmm.
protector of the time arrow. In fact, Gurdev,
Hmm.
no, he has hinted that he might bless Kala Bhairava for us as
Wow.
coming Mandala Vatikas. He had mentioned two, Mahamrityunjaya and Kala Bhairava. But Kala Bhairava is this one. He is the protector of the time arrow. He is the one who
Okay.
keeps entropy tending towards chaos.
In one direction.
Yeah,
Hmm.
in one direction. Yeah, which gives the time arrow. Yeah, so that's the physics of it.
Hmm.
All very interesting concepts.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Then what else would you like to understand in the movie? By the way, how many times have you seen it?
Two times.
Okay, I've seen it 5 times. In fact,
Yeah.
yesterday I was saying to myself, I don't really need to see it. But then I said, let me just look through it. I don't know. I started, and before I knew it, I had seen it for the fifth time yesterday, because I knew we were going to have a discussion today. I said, let
Yeah.
me be a little prepared, to answer, because
Yeah. So even I watched it during COVID, and then we knew we'll have a discussion. So I watched it yesterday night.
yeah. So COVID, I watched it many times. Yeah, at least three times
Achha.
I watched it. 3, 4 times I watched it. Then somewhere along the
Oh.
period. The first time I saw it immediately again because I couldn't understand the movie very well. So I saw it
Hmm.
again. I got some idea. I saw it again. I got some idea. Then later on in COVID, maybe after a year or so, I saw it again. And then it was, quite interesting. And that's where, I started understanding the connection, because it was around
Hmm.
that time, I think Gurudev had hinted at Kala Bhairava also. Yeah.
Hmm.
And immediately this movie came to my head, you know. And,
Hmm.
I said to myself, see, this is a very interesting uh, movie. And I think I watched the movie then, and then I watched it yesterday, you know.
Hmm.
Because with Dinal, you have to be very careful. She'll throw some googlies in. I said, be prepared. When I watch the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when you are in that space of Akashic records, then there is no time and there is no nothing like that.
Um, I think what happens, Dinal, is that you become so much in the present moment when you're in that zone
Hmm.
and you're so much in the
Hmm.
present moment. I think time becomes irrelevant. Time is not of relevance. It's not that
Yeah.
time stops ticking, but
Hmm.
time is not relevant, and therefore time can dilate. Like,
Hmm.
you could be doing a lot of exploration of the records. What you might feel like hours and hours of thing, but when you come out on the clock, it might just be a few minutes.
Hmm.
So I think time essentially loses its significance and connotations when you are in that zone. You know,
Hmm.
I'm sure this happens even when we meditate and things like that. Gurudev asked so many times. Um, how long you think you were in meditation? So
Meditated.
people will
Hmm.
say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Say no, Baba, 33
30
minutes.
minutes.
He will say, you know.
Hmm.
So he keeps time just to give you a clue that when you are in that zone,
Hmm.
time sort of loses its thing, because time is anyway a mental construct.
Hmm.
Time is anyway a mental construct. It is only in our mind we can see time as a arrow.
Hmm.
Nowhere in physics, nowhere in mathematics, nowhere in astrophysics is there a need for time to go in one direction.
Hmm.
There is no need. But in our world, in our real, in this Maya that we call life, time only moves in one direction. But our ancients knew they could.
And what about sorry.
What about us? We do that, no? Like when we uh, play with the tattvas in Mandalavatika, when tattvas visit you, and like friends, you play with them. I think time dilates very easily.
And what about the events?
Hmm?
What about the events? Like, you know, uh, it has happened before and then it's happening again. So it's like already a film has been shot and you are just watching it again.
Yeah. So the concept of Akashic record is that everything that has happened, happening, and is going to happen is all recorded, right?
Okay.
Okay. So it is, you will never know whether you are seeing something that is going to happen or you're going to see something that has happened. When you are
Wow.
experiencing deja vu, the time arrow is very is very gray. You can't say for sure.
Correct.
See, are you in the future experiencing the past, or are you in the past experiencing the future? It
Hmm.
dissolves. There is no clear time arrow. You can't put a time arrow to this.
Correct.
So
Wow.
there is no difference between a deja vu and a premonition. Yeah.
Hmm.
You premonition is, and you have this Dinal.
Hmm.
You know before something is happening that it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You've had several instances in your life where an accident's going to happen and you see it happen. Right?
Yeah.
Deja
Yeah.
vu is something is happening and you know you've seen it before, right? In
Hmm.
both, the time arrow is very murky. Are you
Hmm.
going in the red or are you in the blue? You don't know.
Yeah. You exactly don't know.
Tenet movie, are you in the red room or the blue room? You don't know,
Hmm.
right? And really, even if you take movies like Matrix and things like that, it's very, very. See, once you break out of this mindset that time moves in one direction, then you will find several experiences which will make you question that. See, time, I think, is a construct which allows our mind to come to terms with what is happening in a way that it can relate to. It is something that's happening outside of the actual reality. We have established a, a way of understanding events that is common to everybody so that we can have a structure in our society, our world. Yeah. But like Gurudev says, two lovers sitting on a beach talking, time is very relative for them. Somebody who's sitting waiting for a meeting to start, to be called in for an interview, the time is like 1 second is like 1 hour for them. For two lovers on a beach, 1 hour is like 1 second. So we experience this relativity in our understanding of time. But when we are going about our work on a daily basis, we sort of rationalize it to mean the same thing for everybody. So the question is, does the arrow of time exist at all? And are premonitions, deja vus, examples where we experience the lack of a defined time arrow? It is worth pondering on. But the deeper truth, according to our Vedas, is even if the time is moving forward or backward, your job is to stay on the page. Whether the book is written in Arabic or in English, your job is to stay on the page. And I believe this is a very beautiful clue to how we should live our life. And we can do this only if there is innocence. If we are not contaminated by what has or polluted by what has happened before, or we are conditioned by fear of what is to happen in the future. If we are just innocent, whatever has happened has happened. Whatever is yet to happen is not happened. Or even that in this Tenet movie, what's happened has happened. So even the future has happened. Even the past has happened. Therefore, the only safe place, the only sane place where you can be your best version of yourself, the ultimate version of yourself, is if you stay in the present. Stay on the page. In this world, which is a spindle, a rotating spindle of pages, any page is the center of the book. Get this, what I'm saying. Any page, if the book is a 360-degree spindle and every leaf is one moment, every page is the center of the book. This creation is like that. If you find the best version of yourself by being in the present moment, you become the center of the universe. And therefore, you can create. The more you are in the page, the better you will write the script. The more you are in the page, the better you will write the script. And you will write the script because it has happened. In this movie, the tagline, what has happened has happened. What has happened. Yeah. So there was one lady who asked me in Mandalavatika, does not inviting tattvas in your life, I think it was an intro talk, does not inviting tattvas in your life change karma? If you are supposed to experience something in life and you go and meddle with it, are you not violating karma, was her question. To which my answer was, the very fact that you've come to this intro talk is a part of that karma. That you will learn Mandala Vatika is a part of that karma. That you will invite tattvas to help you in life is a part of that karma. Because what has happened has happened. But it is not to say that you will not do anything. So the movie says what has happened, but does not mean that I will sit here doing nothing. Because whatever you do in this moment is what is written in the future. So you can write the script if you stay on the page. And Mandala Vatika teaches you to do that. So I think Tenet as a movie, while I think it's a fabulous movie, there are so many layers in that movie, and some of them are deeply spiritual. They are deeply spiritual. And I think in many ways one can understand how it all uh, comes back to what we discuss in Mandalavatika, one way or the other. Yeah. Done? Any more questions?
No, sir. Nothing more.
Good, good. As always, Dinal, that was a lovely talk, lovely way to spend a Sunday morning. And
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
and with your permission, I'll see whether I can post this on our website or on our. Is that okay with you?
Yes, yes, sir. Okay.
Okay then. Let others also enjoy and learn what. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
then.
yes.
Jai Gurudev.
Okay, sir. Jai Gurudev. Thank you so much.